Hey everyone, this is Lynette Lorenzetti, and I am currently the Associate Director of Graduate and Professional Programs at Elon in our Financial Aid Office. So that means that I work with only our graduate programs, as you guys know from our weekly discussions. And the person that I selected to do my interview with is Dr. Stephen Folger. He is Chair, Program Director, and Professor in our Physical Therapy Department. He was a natural selection for me to use because I have worked with him for many, many years. He helps me out tremendously in working with the physical therapy students. He helps me to locate students that I need to get to do paperwork, and when I have a problem with a student, I can contact him, and we work very well together. So he has graciously assisted me with other assignments in the SAHI program before, and he continues to offer his assistance. So this was a very natural selection for me. And before I get much further into this, I want to apologize up front and tell you guys that I unfortunately have this congestion crud that is running like the plague through our campus right now. Everybody I know either has had it, has it right now, or is going to get it and is the process of getting it. I have waited as long as I can to record this, hoping I would get over it, but I've had it for about 3 weeks now, and it shows no signs of going anywhere. So, unfortunately, I will probably end up coughing and clearing my throat half a dozen times through this, but I will try my best. Sorry. But when he read my paper, the critical issues paper, which I did on the rising cost of tuition and the escalating student loan debt amounts that are out there, he agreed with me hands down that the rising cost of tuition is something that is a very large concern for our students and our universities. And he said that we really need to figure out a way to get a handle on this and curb the constant tuition increases, yet do it without bankrupting the institutions, because not all institutions excuse me, and I raised this point in my paper, raise the tuition just to raise the tuition. There's a lot of expenses that need to be covered, and a lot of schools are tuition dependent. So unfortunately, we need to figure out a way that we can still raise the tuition and yet still keep our students enrolled. And if we can figure out a way to do that, then we can also naturally curb the rising costs that the students have to constantly cover with these loans. So that will bring down the loan debt and put a stop on the tuition. So it would run hand in hand together if we can figure out a way to do it. But nobody has figured out a way to do that yet. And hopefully somebody will put their great minds together and come up with a way to solve that issue in the near future. He also said that another thing that is going to be a big problem for education in the upcoming years is going to be the battle between the online education, which is growing, and the brick and mortar traditional campus situation. And he said even now for schools, traditional schools that are offering, professional programs like physical therapy and law and things like that, they are also being offered through very reputable schools and online. So that is something that is going to be, a lot of programs are going to need to start taking a look at that. A lot of schools are going to need to start taking a look at that. And that is something that is going to have to be dealt with in the near future. Some takeaways that I had from the conversation with Dr. Folger is adaptability. Schools and students and all the administration needs to be very adaptable. Excuse me. And we need to be able to roll with the punches, so to speak, and to try and adjust to the ever-changing regulations and the ever-changing environment in our work world. The other items that we talked about are that students nowadays need to be taught the basic life skills. That we had a big discussion about how so many graduate students, we're surprised, don't know how to, and we've talked about this in our weekly discussions even, don't know how to balance their bank statements. They don't know how to write checks, even though checks are a dying thing nowadays, but they're still used occasionally. They don't know how to live and work on budgets. So these are things that we feel should be taught to the students, and the students can find to be very useful. And last but not least is that the very, well, I'm trying to figure out a way to put this nicely, but a very large concern for the undergraduate population at schools is that there is a diminishing population for them to be recruited. And because of this, and because of the rising tuition, schools are losing revenues. And the graduate students and the graduate population are going to be bearing the brunt of this in the near future. The costs are going to be going up exponentially, and the graduate students, Dr. Folger and I feel, are going to be bearing the load of this. So we hope that they don't increase the cost of these professional programs, especially the PhDs, not so much, but law, PA, doctors, PTs, all of these are going to be becoming more and more pricey to help bring in the revenue and make up the loss of the tuition revenue that the students in undergraduate are not bringing in, so that to keep these universities afloat. And those are some of the things that we talked about, and I apologize for this going over. I hope that you all enjoyed it. Thank you.